You feel the silence before the storm. 80,000 breaths held at once in a colossal arena, the air thick with summer heat and an unbearable, suffocating tension. You watch a solitary figure walk toward the penalty spot. The distance between the center circle and the penalty box is only 40 yards, but in this moment, it looks like an endless, agonizing desert. The goalkeeper bounces on his line. The referee blows the whistle. The thud of boot against leather echoes, followed instantly by either the deafening roar of absolute euphoria or the crushing silence of national tragedy. This is the crucible of the FIFA World Cup. This is the razor-thin margin between becoming a timeless legend and a forgotten footnote. For decades, you have been conditioned to understand this tournament as a mathematically perfect bloodbath. 32 teams, 8 groups of 4, only 2 advance. It was a beautiful, ruthless geometry that punished the slightest hesitation. You remember the brutal summer of 2014 in Brazil. The reigning champions, Spain, commanded by Vicente del Bosque, were utterly dismantled, humiliated 5-1 by the Netherlands, and sent home after just 2 games. You remember 2018 in Russia. The unstoppable German machine managed by Joachim Löw broke down in the group stage, stunned 2-0 by South Korea in stoppage time. The 32-team format was a masterpiece of jeopardy. Every single match was a final. Every single point was a matter of life and death. But in the summer of 2026, the rules of history will change. When the tournament touches down across the massive expanse of the United States, Mexico, and Canada, the perfect symmetry of 32 will be shattered. Welcome to the era of 48. 104 matches, a sprawling, continent-wide marathon that will redefine what it means to survive the beautiful game. At first glance, this historic expansion feels like a triumph of global inclusion. FIFA President Gianni Infantino presents it as a grand opening of the gates, a chance for nations who have spent a century in the shadows to finally step into the blinding light of the world stage. You are told this is the democratization of football. You are told this is a celebration. But look closer at the mechanics, and you will see the counterintuitive truth. The 48-team expansion is not just a festival of inclusion, it is a tactical trap. It is a structural revolution that will fundamentally alter the psychology, the physical demands, and the very soul of international football. To understand the trap, you have to look at the new architecture of the group stage. 12 groups of 4 teams. The top 2 teams automatically advance, exactly like before. But here is the critical twist that changes everything. The 8 best third-place teams will also survive. In the old system, losing your first game meant you were immediately staring into the abyss. Panic would set in. Managers were forced to abandon caution, throw their best attackers onto the pitch, and risk everything for a victory. It created open, desperate, breathtaking football. Now, imagine you are a manager in 2026. You know that 3 points, perhaps even just 2 draws, might be enough to slip through the back door into the knockout rounds as a third-place finisher. The mathematical imperative shifts. It evolves from "we must win" to "we simply cannot lose." We have seen this exact psychological shift before, and it nearly killed the spectacle of a major tournament. Look at the UEFA European Championship in 2016. UEFA expanded the tournament from 16 to 24 teams, allowing third-place finishers to advance. Portugal, led by manager Fernando Santos and a prime Cristiano Ronaldo, won the entire tournament despite failing to win a single match in their group. They drew 1-1 against Iceland. They drew 0-0 against Austria. They drew 3-3 against Hungary. They played reactive, deeply pragmatic football, knowing the expanded system would catch them if they stumbled. The expansion rewarded survival over brilliance. In 2026, the group stage will become a tactical waiting game. The elite nations, the Frances, the Brazils, the Argentinas, will treat the opening rounds as an extended preseason tour. The sheer terror of the group of death will vanish, replaced by a calculated, energy-saving procession. For the giants of the game, the group stage is no longer a minefield. It is merely a waiting room.
But what happens to the underdogs? What happens to the debutants stepping onto the pitch in a World Cup for the very first time? You might think the expanded format favors them, giving them a platform to play expansive, joyous football on the global stage. But the reality of modern tactics dictates the exact opposite. When a vastly inferior team faces a global superpower, they do not play open football. They build a fortress. Tactical analysts call it the low block. 11 men stationed permanently behind the ball, compressing the space, defending the penalty area with their lives, and hoping for a single miraculous counterattack or a lucky corner kick. In a 48-team tournament, the disparity in individual talent between the top seeds and the bottom seeds will be wider than ever before in history. To survive against teams fielding Champions League superstars, the smaller nations will be forced to play the most cynical, destructive football imaginable. The group stage will be flooded with teams trying to drag matches to a 0-0 standstill. Then, you must consider the physical toll. To lift the Golden Trophy at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey on July 19, 2026, a team will have to survive 8 matches instead of the traditional 7. One extra game might not sound like a monumental difference to you, but in the grueling heat of a North American summer, where temperatures in cities like Houston, Miami, and Monterey will easily exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit, it is a physical breaking point. Historical data shows that the modern footballer is already operating at the absolute limit of human endurance. During the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, FIFA's tracking data revealed players were covering more distance at higher sprinting speeds than at any point in the history of the sport. The introduction of a round of 32, an entirely new knockout phase, means an extra 90 minutes of high-stakes, physically devastating football. It means an extra chance for muscle tears and hamstring injuries. It means an extra chance for yellow card suspensions. This is where the 48-team trap snaps completely shut. The tournament will no longer be won strictly by the team with the most beautiful philosophy or the most gifted playmaker. It will be won by the team with the deepest squad, the most advanced sports science department, and the most ruthless capacity to endure suffering. It will become a war of attrition. Elite nations with massive talent pools will rotate their squads, resting their superstars against weaker opposition in the group stage. Smaller nations, who rely heavily on a starting 11 to execute their tactical plans, will simply run out of oxygen by the time they reach the knockout rounds. Yet, within this grueling, cynical structure lies the potential for the greatest underdog stories ever told. Because in a single elimination knockout format with 32 teams, chaos is mathematically guaranteed. Imagine the round of 32. It is the tactical equivalent of Russian roulette. An elite team, having coasted lazily through the group stage, suddenly finds themselves locked in a scoreless draw against a highly organized, deeply motivated underdog who has parked the bus for 89 minutes. The Giants become frustrated. They overcommit their fullbacks, and then a single long ball over the top, a slip on the turf, a momentary lapse in concentration, and the tournament is turned upside down. The sheer volume of knockout matches exponentially increases the probability of a catastrophic upset. This is the crushing weight of history that the host nations, the United States, Mexico, and Canada, must carry. For Mexico, the obsession with El Quinto Partido, the elusive fifth match, has defined their entire footballing identity for 30 years. They have not reached a World Cup quarterfinal since 1986, when Hugo Sanchez led them on home soil. Since then, they have suffered the agony of being eliminated in the round of 16 in 7 consecutive World Cups. The loss on penalties to Bulgaria in 1994, the devastating defeat to the United States in 2002, the Maxi Rodriguez volley in 2006, The infamous no era penal foul on Arjen Robben in 2014, and then the ultimate collapse in 2022 under Tata Martino, failing to even escape the group. The curse is etched into the psyche of every Mexican fan. Now, with the addition of the round of 32, just reaching that fifth match means they will still only be in the round of 16. The curse has geometrically mutated. To break it, they must now win a sixth game. For the United States, a golden generation stepping onto home soil faces the ultimate pressure. They are no longer the plucky, naive outsiders of 1994, led by Bora Milutinovic, wearing fake denim jerseys and hoping Tony Meola could pull off a miracle. The modern American squad is built on players forged in Europe's elite leagues. Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams. They are expected to navigate this sprawling 48-team labyrinth and prove they finally belong among the global elite. The burden of hosting the largest sporting event in human history means a round of 32 exit would be viewed as a generational failure. And for Canada, a nation that hacked its way back into the World Cup consciousness in 2022 through the sheer willpower of manager John Herdman and a golden generation of talent. Led by global stars like Alphonso Davies, the expanded tournament is a brutal test of depth and longevity. They have proven they can reach the stage. Now, they must prove they are not just tourists. They must survive the grind. The summer of 2026 will be an experiment in human endurance, tactical cynicism, and unprecedented scale. It will test the limits of what players can physically survive and what fans can emotionally process. The geometry of the tournament has been fractured. The perfect, razor-sharp tension of the 32-team era has been traded away for the sprawling, unpredictable, grueling chaos of 48. You feel the silence before the storm. 80,000 breaths held at once in a colossal arena, the air thick with summer heat and unbearable tension. You watch a solitary figure walk toward the penalty spot. The rules of the tournament have changed. The path to glory has been artificially elongated, and the tactical traps are deeper than ever before. But the distance between the center circle and the penalty box remains exactly the same.